Hi again, everybody. My name is Greg Anderson, and this is the Good Timekeeping Show with Greg Anderson. And today, it's another G-Shock Square. How could I resist this one here? A collaboration with, this is a Galapagos Island conservation collaboration here. And there are actually 3 versions of this watch out, and how could I resist? So I obviously have a big collection of G-Shock Squares, and there are actually, even though some of them are very, very similar, there are different modules. For example, so this here is an older version of the GW-M5610, and it has module 3159. The U version, U series, has a few extra features, and this is a different module. This is module 3495 for the GW-M5610U series. Okay, then we go with the ones that have Bluetooth built into them. So I guess this one here, the Sand and Land watch here, this has module, let's see, 3461 is this guy. This one here, this metal one, has the Super Twist-O-Matic STN display, and that is module 3459. And then this new one here, even though it does all the same things as the Sand and Land version, everything it does, the button, you press the buttons, does the same thing, same readout, everything is the same, except this one has a different module. This is module 3540. So again, this one here is 3461, 3540. And I was trying to figure out why are they different? I mean, obviously a little bit different color, but that's to be expected. I mean, there are other Bluetooth models. Let's see. Here's one. Same module as the Sand and Land. So, these two have the same module. What's different about this guy? And from my research and just kind of some speculation online, I was seeing the idea is that this one has a little bit different, maybe Bluetooth circuitry inside. Whatever the chip is in there that interacts with Bluetooth has been updated. And that seems to be the only difference between this and this one here. Operationally, they will do the same thing. Now, I know some people are kind of concerned about Bluetooth and relying on Bluetooth because Bluetooth is a technology that changes. And so you don't know for sure if the smartphone that you're using 5 years from now will be fully compatible with older Bluetooth technology, or if the apps that are running on your new phone 5 years from now will still support older Bluetooth technology. So some people are a little bit scared of, getting into these Bluetooth watches like this that are now, a couple years old, or maybe they're just getting older every year. So I don't know. I don't know if this kind of helps in the future by having an updated Bluetooth. But for now, all of these watches, they work with, if they're Bluetooth enabled, they work with the apps that they're supposed to work with. And so I'm not going to worry about it too much. Just know that if you're used to one of these other Bluetooth watches that have, it's a G-Shock Square, it's got Multiband 6, it's got the tough solar, it's got that Bluetooth. If you're used to using this, you're going to find that this new one will give you the same experience. And so I wouldn't worry about it for now. Just enjoy. So, but let me just show this off to you. I just got this, and I was waiting to wear it until I made a video about it. So just in case I get it banged up or anything, I wanted it to look perfect for this video. So right here on the watch band, it says Apoyo la conservación de Galapagos, which means this supports the conservation of, the Galapagos Islands there. So some of what you're seeing here, it goes to support that. It's a Charles Darwin kind of tribute here. And on the back of the watch, you can also see kind of a special case back right there. Fundación Charles Darwin. So I guess there's a Charles Darwin Foundation. It has something to do with preserving the Galapagos Islands. And that gives you all your other, stats that you usually see on the back of these G-Shocks. Multiband 6. It's got the water resist 20 bar. And does it say tough solar back there? No, but it does say it on the front, I think. Yeah, right up there, tough solar. So yeah, all the features that I really like in my G-Shock watches, I will find in abundance in this guy here. Here on the Keeper, It's got a special little cutout. So, I mean, if I were to stick something back behind there, you can see that it's actually cut out. And that's a little shape of a shark. And so also the backlight, when you turn on the backlight, there's a little bit of a shadow of a shark shape in there. And if you look closely on the face, you can see, you know, kind of that tropical island kind of flavor there with some of the decorations, almost like a paisley thing, but then that little shark up there. Typically, I don't do unboxing videos because typically the box is not that important, but you might be interested to know this has a special box with, you know, coordinated with the look of the watch and the Charles Darwin Foundation there. It came with this here, some kind of sustainable materials there, you know, not packaged with any plastic. That's kind of a, you know, a paper product there. There are the, you know, the manuals in this guy here. And then when I first opened this up, the watch was wrapped around this piece of, you know, kind of cardboardish stuff. And the watch was inside this little bag. So, you know, that whole idea of the sustainability and not using, you know, metal and plastic for the packaging of the watch. So I thought I should at least show you that much. I don't think I'll do anything with that box now because I really just care about the watch itself. Okay, let's explore this watch. First of all, as you see on the face here, it doesn't have a lot of writing like you would see. You see a little bit more writing on some of these other G-Shock squares. This one, for example, has next to the buttons, tells you adjust, mode, receiving, light. These buttons over here on this watch do all the same things, but they're not clearly labeled. So that sort of simplifies the face a little bit. Also where it says protection and G-Shock, you know, it's not painted in there. It's just, you know, a little bit engraved in there, if you will. So anyway, simplified face. Okay, now, but let's talk about what it does. So if you're not familiar with these tough solder watches, tough solder means there's a solder cell built into the face of the watch. So the watch will charge itself and keep that battery running for years and years. My oldest tough solder watch, I have had it now for nearly 18 years. And I've never had to open it up and change a battery because it just keeps charging itself with exposure to everyday lighting conditions. So with a tough solder watch, if you're not going to wear it for a while, I recommend you kind of leave it on the on your dresser or you know, on top of your desk or something, so it gets a little bit of light every day. I wouldn't put it in a drawer and let it sit in the dark because it needs a little bit of light to keep it charged, and they do last better when they are regularly exposed to light, and you can get the battery charge going pretty well. So tough solder, I like that. It makes it for a very maintenance-free kind of a watch. Also, this has what they call Multiband 6. And if you're not familiar with that, it means there's a radio receiver built into the watch. And so every night at about midnight, it will start to receive atomic time information from one of the transmitters in different parts of the world. There are 6 of them all together, so that's Multiband 6. So if you're set to a Chinese time zone and you're in within range of that Chinese transmitter, it will pick up atomic time from the one in China. Or there are 2 in Japan. There's also one in Germany, one in the UK, and of course here in North America, WW-VB out of Fort Collins, Colorado. So when I have this set to the right time zone, for me, I'm in the Denver time zone, or the mountain time zone of the United States, even though I'm in Utah. So I set it to that time zone. This thing will pick up the atomic time information every night and keep itself perfectly synchronized to atomic time. Now, maybe it's going to drift by a fraction of a second every day, but it's going to try every day to kind of recalibrate itself. So very, very much maintenance-free as far as setting the time. The only time I have to fiddle with setting the time is if I change time zones, if I travel somewhere. So as you can see here, very clear, hours, minutes, seconds. This can be an AM, PM, 12-hour display, or it could be a 24-hour display. Right there, DST indicates that it's showing daylight saving time, which is correct for this time of year here where I am. PS for power save. So if this watch is left in the dark overnight, it will turn off the display after 10 p.m. After being in the dark and not moving for a while. Turn off the display until the next morning. That's power save. LT for an automatic light. So when you raise your wrist to look at it, the watch will sense that movement and turn on the light for either 2 or 4 seconds, depending on the setting you've chosen. RCVD means that it has recently received successfully that atomic time information, and as you can see, it's also day of the week and the month right there. So, and this can be displayed as month and date like that in that order, or kind of the more European style. You could have it show the date and then the month in the opposite order there in that window. This little indicator right there above my fingernail means that the hourly chime is activated, and it would show a little bit differently if it were the hourly chime and the alarms activated, or if they were all turned off. So we can go through that. It's just another one of the modes. So this is your main timekeeping mode. If I press this mode button, I go to the next mode. It's my world time mode, and I can actually choose 5 different time zones that I can easily scroll through those 5 different time zones using this button on the lower right side. But I tend to leave it at UTC for that world time mode. And I can, again select any of 5 time zones to be represented in those quick access world time zones. The alarm, I haven't even set this up yet. There are 5 alarms for this one. And the 5th one is a snooze alarm. And what that means is if it were set right now for midnight, it would beep for about 10 seconds, and then it would stop. And then about 5 minutes later, it would beep again. And 5 minutes later, it would beep again, up to half an hour later. So that's your snooze alarm. The other ones just beep the one time only every day if you've got them activated. And then, of course, you also have the hourly signal. It's going to beep every hour on the hour. Next mode is your stopwatch mode, and this is kind of nice. It's minutes, seconds, and hundredths of a second. And once it gets above 1 hour, it'll all shift over, and it'll be hours, minutes, and seconds. And then if it goes a full 24 hours, it will reset to 0 and keep on going. So that's what that is. You also have the split time with this button up here on the left side. And very much like a lot of other stopwatches you're familiar with on watches like this. That, of course, will stop it, and this one up here on the left will reset it. And you see the local time in this little box while you're using the stopwatch. Then you have your countdown timer, and this is up to a 24-hour countdown timer. Again, you have the local time right there when you're using the countdown timer. Again, simple operation. You can start and stop it with the button on the lower right side. You can stop it and reset it with the button up here on the left side. And if I hold this down, then I can reset the duration of hours, minutes, and seconds to customize how long I want that countdown timer to go. If I put it at all zeros, then that will be a true 24-hour countdown timer, and that's how that works. Just heads up, when the countdown timer is running, that will disable the atomic time multiband 6 reception. So just keep that in mind, especially if you're thinking there's something wrong with the watch. I set a 24-hour timer, and then it didn't reset overnight. Didn't receive its atomic time information. That's because you had the countdown timer running, and that disabled the atomic time reception. Then we're back to the home screen. Now, I could also go up here to, when I'm at the home screen, press and hold this adjust button, and this is where I can customize my settings. So right now it's set to the Denver time zone, but I can scroll through other time zones. If I use this bottom button, it's like I'm going eastward on a map. And if I use the top button on the right, it's like I'm going westward on the map. And all these time zones are abbreviations of major cities in that time zone. And so I can go back. I'm just going to stick it right back to the Denver time zone. That's correct for me. Then I press the adjust button, and this is where I can select daylight saving time to either automatically change, or I can have it always off, just always showing standard time, or always on, showing daylight saving time. But for me, it's automatic because we do switch back and forth here where I live. Next mode, this is again where you select, actually this is where you would manually set the time. So if I push this button, it would reset the seconds, or I can scroll through and reset the hours, minutes, and the dates going through here. Then this is where I can select a 12-hour or 24-hour display, and that affects the entire watch. All the different modes would either be in a 12-hour display or a 24-hour display based on this setting right here. This is where you do month and date, or date and month, And then over here, the abbreviation of the day of the week could be an abbreviation of English, Spanish, French, German, Italian, Russian, or back to English. And then the key, what this means is every time I press a button to change modes or to start and stop a stopwatch or a countdown timer, you'll hear a quiet beep. I mean, you will hear it, but it's relatively quiet. Or I could mute that, and this is where I would select mute. And so now it's not going to make those beeps all the time. It will still make a sound when it's the end of a countdown timer or the hourly signal or when one of those alarms goes off. But all the other times you're pressing buttons, those sounds will be muted if you select mute. And here's where the back light can be set to either a 2-second or a 4-second duration. So that's kind of nice. If you may want to save battery power by having a short duration on the backlight, but since this is rechargeable, I usually go with a longer duration. I kind of like that. This is where the automatic receiving can be turned off, or I like to leave it on, of course, so that it will automatically update itself. And this is where power saving can be turned on or off. If power saving is off, that means the display will not go blank overnight to try and save power. And again, you may prefer that, especially if you work an overnight shift or something and you don't like the the face of the watch going blank all the time during your overnight work shift. You can do that. And so now we're back to normal timekeeping. So that's everything you can do with just on the watch itself. That's not including the Bluetooth connection to an app on your smartphone. So I will briefly demonstrate how that is done. I'm going to use the Casio Watches app, and I have some watches already on this, but let me go to the My Watches page, and we want to add a watch. So I'm going to press the plus button down here, and we're going to add a watch. It's going to ask me the module for this watch, which I said that a moment ago, and I've already forgotten what this module is because it's the new module. So right here on the back of the watch, actually, it says it on here, this tag. Okay, module 3540. So I'm going to enter that number here, 3540, and go next. And now it's going to ask me which of these watches it is, and it's the CD for Charles Darwin collection. So that's the watch I'm looking at. And it actually knows, is it the one with the blue, the one with the green, or the one with the yellow? And this is the one with the blue that I have. So I'm going to say, yes, it's that one. And I'm going to tap on register to register this watch to this app. And now it's telling me what I need to do is hold down this lower left button for at least 3 seconds to connect. And now it's starting to try to make that connection between the two devices. Now we see that it is making that connection. And as soon as this happens, I can do all the setup stuff I was showing you before with the buttons. I can do that through the app, which might make it a little bit easier and quicker to set up some of those things. So here I am. Now that they're connected, I can go down here and set the alarms. So right there, it's showing me, okay, my hourly signal is already on. The alarms are not set, but I can go in here and just quickly say, I want that first one to be at, let's make it 7 o'clock in the morning, save, and make that second one. We're going to make that, let's make that 8 o'clock in the morning, save, and they're both turned on. And then I press tap the button here down at the bottom to send that to the watch. And now the watch says, okay. And now those alarms are set on the watch. Same with the countdown timer. If I want to change the duration of the countdown timer, I could do it right here. And this might be a little bit quicker and easier than using a combination of buttons on the watch. Now I've set the countdown timer. I haven't started the countdown timer. I have to do that on the watch, but I can again set the duration through here. In world time, I can change the time zones that are selected for world time. So, let's go here. And using the app, you actually get more options on world time. Here it's showing you a map, and you just kind of select where you want. Since I did spend some time in Bolivia in the 1980s, let's see if I can find a nice little place in Bolivia. Yeah, let's go with La Paz and make La Paz, Bolivia, one of our world time zones. And it's just that simple and just that easy to do that. And so you might be a little limited if you're trying to find those time zones on the watch itself, but through the app, it gives you more cities to choose from. Time synchronization. The nice thing about this, it has that automatic time reception capability for the Multiband 6. But if you don't live in an area that's close enough to those transmitters I just mentioned a moment ago, like let's say you live in Australia and none of those Multiband 6 transmitters are going to help you set this watch in Australia, you can instead have the Bluetooth send time data to the watch, and it will stay perfectly synchronized with atomic time through the Bluetooth connection in your smart device. There's a phone finder, so you could actually press a button on the watch and make your phone make a noise in case it's lost in the cushions of your couch. Watch settings, then you get into some of the other things like the light and the sounds and power save mode. All that stuff can be adjusted here through the app. And I'm going to show you this one here. This is actually a function that you will not see, that you can't do this, the reminder function. This is one you have to have the app to set the reminder. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say the reminder is, eat lunch, whatever. I need to be reminded to have my lunch. So I'm going to set that reminder, and I'm going to set the, do I want that to happen only once? Or do I want to have it every week or every month or every year, whatever I want there? I'll say, let's do that just once. And let's have that be today's date. And so now if I send that to the watch, up here, it's going to give me a reminder to eat lunch. And what I'll do right now, I'm just going to, see REM is showing right there. So if I go ahead and press the button here, if I tap the adjust button up there, then right there in that window is the message that I decided that I needed to know, which is eat lunch. So that's my reminder. And so that's kind of, I don't really use that very much, but it's kind of fun to have that function on there. And again, you have to use the app in order to get there. Also, you may notice if you're used to the other G-Shock squares, there's no battery power indicator here on the watch itself. So there's nothing here to tell you, is that watch battery well charged, or is it low, or is it medium, high? What is it? It doesn't tell you there, but it will tell you on the app. So let's go back up to the top here. First of all, I need to reconnect because when I was playing with the buttons there, actually, I closed the connection to the watch. So let's do this over again. I'm going to make a new connection, and now you'll see when the watch reconnects on the app, right there, it tells me it's connected, and right there is the battery power indicator right there in the middle of my screen. So it's showing me it's almost fully charged, not quite there. So if I were to give this a little bit of sunlight tomorrow, maybe leave it near a window. It doesn't need direct sunlight, but I could leave it near a window and let it get indirect sunlight, not get too hot. And I should, within a day or two of doing that, get that up to a full charge. But even if it's not fully charged, all the functions still work. If it gets down to a very low charge, some of the functions will no longer work, and it won't be able to connect to Bluetooth. But that's really something you don't have to worry about too much. So I know it bothers some people that they can't see the battery strength right here. They have to use the app and the Bluetooth connection to know that. But I will say that in normal operations, your watch is probably not going to lose power and lose functions. So I'm not that worried about it. This is what that special backlight looks like, where it has that little shadow of a shark kind of built in, and that's part of the it's kind of part of the film that does the backlight. So depending on the angle there. Now you wonder, why is it flashing yellow or kind of orange red at the end of the 4 seconds? That is just a little reminder that there is a reminder. So I set that reminder earlier, and now at the end of the backlight, it has a little flash to say, hey, remember that reminder? So if I didn't have a reminder active, then it wouldn't flash that other color at the end, but that's kind of fun. Now, since this is an LED backlight instead of electroluminescent, if you turn it at an extreme angle, you might see a little bit beyond the typical polarized film in there and start to see kind of beyond the margins on there. But if you just are a normal person, I hope that doesn't bother you. It doesn't bother me. I think it's a really pretty backlight, and the shark just kind of makes it fun. In fact, I can compare the shark to the orca on my Love the Sea and the Earth watch. I'm told that sharks are very, very much afraid of orcas. So, I put these two watches together next to each other in the case and see which one is alive the next day. No, I'm sure they'll get along just great because, we live in a very peaceful paradise where all my G-Shock watches get along well, even if there are orcas and sharks right next to each other. Wow, look at that. And that's about it. It's kind of a collector item here. The typical price on this is $170. And as I've looked around Amazon, eBay, that you're going to find that's about the typical price. In fact, some people are charging even more than that, but you can get this watch directly from Casio for $170. And that's kind of nice. I guess it's, you're not going to find a much better deal elsewhere very easily. And if you want to make sure you're getting a genuine product, no counterfeits here, you could order direct from Casio for about $170. Now, I happened to find one that cost, it was a little bit of a deal. It was about $15 discounted, and that's where I got this. And so you never know. But so that's what I got. And of course, there are two other versions of this as far as the colors go, kind of a limited edition, I suppose. But these have been out since the very end of last year. So that's going on, 3-4 months, and they're still readily available if you really like it. The yellow one is kind of nice because it harkens back to, a classic G-Shock from years ago, but had all the yellow around it. So if you want to kind of, get something that looks like an older watch but has all the new functions and has the Galapagos Island tribute on there and the turtle motif with yellow. You get the yellow one. There's one with green, and that's got kind of a bird on there. And, what can I say? You know me. What are the chances I'm going to collect all three colors? Stay tuned and find out. But for now, this is the first one I started out with, and I like it, and I'm very familiar with it because it's so similar to the other Bluetooth squares that I've already enjoyed. And this is just going to be a fun part of my collection. So I hope that was informative to you. If you're interested in this or other G-Shock squares, whether it's Bluetooth or not, whether it's Tough Solar and Multiband 6 or not, all of mine are Tough Solar. All my G-Shock squares are Tough Solar, and all of them have a Multiband 6, except this one here, which has Bluetooth. But this one's a little different from the rest. And then I've got several of these that have Bluetooth, and I'm still loving the G-Shock squares. As long as the prices remain somewhat reasonable, not like, you get a Mr. G version or something that's made of titanium or has some kind of, you can spend thousands of dollars. This one was, only about $300 to $400. You can spend thousands of dollars for a G-Shock square if you want to. I probably don't want to, but as long as it's under $200 and sometimes under $150, I think I'm going to keep collecting these fun G-Shock squares. And when I do, I will make more videos about them. So you can stay tuned for that right here on the Good Timekeeping Show.